Hi everyone! For my final neuroethics presentation, I will be discussing a topic we examined in class, the ethics of moral enhancement. For this presentation, I will be focusing specifically on moral enhancement technologies, which are biomedical techniques aimed at making people more moral. According to Thomas Douglas, the author of one of the articles we read for class and often cited as the quote-unquote grandfather of the moral enhancement technology debate, moral enhancement would leave the enhanced person with morally better motives than they had previously. Douglas claims moral enhancement could be used to target counter-moral motives, namely aversions to certain racial groups or impulses toward violent aggression. There are a variety of existing technologies that are being explored for their use in moral enhancement, many of which we also examined in class for the purposes of love drugs and memory and emotional attenuation. Research suggests that moral enhancement may be achieved through pharmaceutical interventions or neurostimulation techniques. Oxytocin could potentially be used for moral enhancement as it plays a critical role in social cognition and bonding behaviors. Amphetamines have also been considered for moral enhancement as they significantly affect motivation to take action. Some research suggests that beta blockers decrease implicit racist responses. And finally, brain stimulation techniques such as TMS or DBS are also referenced in the literature as potentially enhancing morality through cognitive enhancements of traits such as motivation. So with all of this advancing technology, the question I have posed is if we should continue to research and develop moral enhancement technology. In class, we examined two opposing arguments for this, those of Douglas and Harris. We read Thomas Douglas's response to Harris, but in his original paper, I found that Douglas supports moral enhancement and claims that when performed under certain conditions, there are no good or valid objections to biomedical moral enhancement. On the other hand, Harris deems biomedical moral enhancement as unnecessary, claiming it limits our freedom. Both make compelling arguments, but I came across a more recent article on the subject from 2017 that examines the feasibility of moral enhancement and analyzes the different techniques listed earlier. The researchers found that many of these biomedical methods were far too blunt and were not fine-tuned enough to reliably enhance morality. Furthermore, they had side effects and unintended consequences. For example, oxytocin does promote social bonding, but only in the in-group, and can actually negatively affect cooperation with out-group members of society. Beta blockers do blunt racist responses, but they achieve this by blunting all emotional responses. And the neurostimulation techniques have mixed results regarding effectiveness on moral decisions. Essentially, this more recent article asserts that moral enhancement technology is not yet feasible in the near future. Based off of this paper, as well as Harris's, I most closely align myself with the bioconservative idea that we should not rely on moral enhancement technology to shape the morality of others, and thus we should not attempt to further develop the technology for this purpose. As of right now, the biomedical techniques under examination are not reliable or feasible because we are still unsure of the exact neuroscientific connections to moral decision-making. These technologies cannot exactly target what needs to be attenuated, and they can have negative side effects that do not outweigh the purported benefits. Hypothetically, even if the technology were effective to a degree, I still agree with Harris that moral neuroenhancement takes away an essential freedom of failure and undermines virtue. Furthermore, it could numb aversions humans have towards things they typically should have aversions to. Moral enhancement technology is also morally reductive and operates under the premise that certain cognitions are morally wrong, which may not apply to all cultures and people. This technology could be used in a destructive and dangerous manner to change minority morals and values and squash revolutions that are not in line with majority views. This sort of cognitive enhancement is unnecessary when there already exist tried and true methods of moral enhancement, such as increased education to correct false beliefs and widespread public and legal disapproval. The authors of the 2017 article even suggest motivational nudging, like Peter Verbeek briefly mentioned in his TED Talk, to encourage people to make good decisions based on aligned social norms and expectations. I find this to be an intriguing form of moral enhancement over the biomedical techniques. In conclusion, I do not think that we should continue to research and develop moral enhancement technology. Cognitive neuroenhancement for other purposes could greatly serve many people, but using it for the sake of moral enhancement is neither feasible nor wise. Instead, we as a society should focus on moral enhancement through social interventions that are already proven to be both safe and effective, and that pose little threat to individual liberty and autonomy. Thank you.